Here is a plant growing across 6 continents that contains 5 times more magnesium than spinach, more than any supplement capsule, and more than any fortified cereal on the market. It produces 70,000 seeds per plant, and those seeds remain alive in the soil for 40 years. Ancient bog bodies were found with it, still preserved inside their stomachs. Yet the Western world classified it as a weed. The supplement industry generates nearly $7 billion annually selling magnesium pills. Meanwhile, this plant grows in sidewalk cracks. At the end of this video, you will know exactly why a plant more nutritious than anything in your grocery store ended up on agriculture's most wanted list, and how to never pay for magnesium again. Walk into any traditional kitchen in northern India during winter. Watch the families prepare their morning meal. They will cook dark green leaves with a dusty white coating into curries and flatbreads called parathas. This is not spinach. This is not kale. This is bathua. And over 300 million people across South Asia eat it every single week. In the Himalayan foothills of Nepal, they call it bethu. Farmers there consider it essential winter nutrition. In Turkey, villagers call it sirkin. They have gathered it from wild places for generations beyond memory. In rural Mexico, traditional cooks call it quilite. They fold it into tamales and stir it into soups. Here is the first clue that something went wrong. You know spinach, you know kale, you know arugula, and Swiss chard and collard greens. These vegetables sit in every Western grocery store. But this plant, consumed by more people than all those greens combined, does not exist in Western consciousness. Most Americans have never heard any of its names. The problem begins with fragmentation. Indians call it bathua. Nepalese call it bethu. Turks call it sirkin. Mexicans call it quilite. British farmers once called it fat hen. American botanists call it Chenopodium album. Dozens of names for one plant. No unified identity in Western languages. When a plant has no consistent name, it has no consistent presence in cookbooks, in databases, or in research funding proposals. The fragmentation was not intentional, but the result was erasure. Compare this to cilantro. Same plant as coriander. Different name for leaves versus seeds. But Western food culture unified these names. Everyone knows cilantro. It appears in every grocery store. This ancient plant never received that unification. It remained foreign in each separate encounter. Never familiar, never integrated, never understood. Now consider the official designation. This plant feeds hundreds of millions of people. Ancient civilizations cultivated it for thousands of years. It ranks among the top 5 most widespread agricultural weeds on Earth. Food in one country, poison classification in another. The same leaves that Indian grandmothers cook into family dinners are the same leaves that American farmers spray with herbicides. When did growing without permission become a crime? The ancient record tells a completely different story. To understand how this happened, we need to travel back. Not decades, not centuries, but millennia. In 1950, Danish workers cutting peat from a bog near the village of Toland discovered something that would change archaeology forever. They found a human body so perfectly preserved that they initially called the police, thinking they had discovered a recent murder victim. The body belonged to a man who had died over 2,400 years ago. Scientists named him Toland Man. His face remained so intact that you can still see his closed eyes, his furrowed brow, the stubble on his chin. He looked like he was sleeping. But scientists were most interested in something else: his stomach. In 2021, researchers from the Danish National Museum conducted the most detailed analysis ever performed on Toland Man's last meal. They used advanced microscopy and lipid analysis to identify exactly what he ate in the hours before his death. The results filled pages of the scientific journal Antiquity. Barley pale persicaria, flax seeds, wild buckwheat, and one plant appeared in higher concentrations than any other grain or seed. The plant we are discussing today. It filled his stomach. It was not a weed to him. It was food. Intentional, cultivated, harvested food. Toland Maan was not alone. Another bog body discovered nearby called Grauballe. Maan showed the same dietary pattern, same plants, same intentional cultivation, same evidence of a food system we had forgotten existed. The examination of stomach contents from Iron Age human bodies preserved in northern European peat bogs reveals that this plant's leaves and seeds were harvested and consumed over 3,000 years ago. This was not foraging. This was agriculture. But Europe was not the only place where humans recognized this plant's value. 5,000 miles west, an entirely separate civilization made the same discovery independently. In the river valleys of eastern North America, something remarkable happened approximately 5,000 years ago. Indigenous peoples began intentionally planting and cultivating members of the goosefoot family. They selected for larger seeds. They developed storage techniques. They created trade networks. By 3,800 years before, present at least 5 domesticated seed-bearing plants formed a coherent agricultural complex in the corridor of rivers stretching from modern-day Missouri to Ohio. This plant's relatives were central to that system. Archaeologists call this the Eastern Agricultural Complex. It predates the arrival of maize from Mexico by nearly 2,000 years. For millennia, Native American civilizations grew wealthy and populous on crops that modern Americans call weeds. At Russell Cave in Alabama, archaeologists found direct evidence of this forgotten agriculture. Seeds from the Chenopodium family were stored intentionally and cultivated systematically. This was not a minor food source. This was a staple crop. 3 separate domestication events: the Andes Mountains of South America, the highlands of central Mexico, the woodlands of eastern North America. 3 independent civilizations looked at this plant and reached the same conclusion. This is valuable. This is worth cultivating. This feeds our people. And here is perhaps the most revealing connection of all. You have heard of quinoa, the ancient Andean superfood that now costs $8 per pound at health food stores. The grain that Instagram influencers add to their smoothie bowls, the seed that generates hundreds of millions in annual sales. Quinoa is Chenopodium quinoa. The plant we are discussing is Chenopodium album. They are close relatives, the same genus, with similar nutritional profiles. Recent studies published in the Journal of Food Composition and Analysis compared them directly. The results shocked researchers. Chenopodium album demonstrated superior nutraceutical and amino acid profiles compared to quinoa. The weed outperforms the superfood. The free plant beats the expensive one, and almost no one in the Western world has ever heard of it. The plant is called lamb's quarters. That is its most common American name, Chenopodium album. This is the most nutritious plant you have never been told about. Let me show you what modern science has confirmed about its composition. In a 100-gram serving of raw lamb's quarters, leaves you receive 96% of your daily vitamin C requirements, 73% of your vitamin A, 37% of your riboflavin, 37% of your manganese, 31% of your calcium, and all of this for only 43 calories. Compare this to spinach, the green that nutritionists celebrate. Lamb's quarters contains approximately 2 times more vitamin B, 1, 2 times more vitamin B, 2, 3 times more vitamin C, and 3 times more calcium. Compare it to kale, the vegetable that launched 1,000 wellness brands. Lamb's quarters carries an advantage that goes far beyond trendy nutrition labels. It does not just compete with supermarket greens. It exposes how narrow our modern definition of food has become. This plant contains more vitamin A than kale, more calcium than spinach, and a level of magnesium so high that it changes the entire conversation around deficiency. Not because it was engineered in a lab, not because it was bred for profit, simply because wild systems often preserve abundance that industrial systems forget. And magnesium is where the story turns from interesting to urgent. Your body needs magnesium to keep muscles contracting, normally nerves sending signals, cleanly blood sugar, stable sleep regulated, and energy moving through every cell. When that mineral runs low, the symptoms arrive quietly. Tight muscles, headaches, restless sleep, fatigue that coffee cannot fix, anxiety that seems to come from nowhere. Most people do not connect those problems to food. They assume stress is normal, exhaustion is normal. Deficiency becomes invisible when almost everyone shares it. Now, imagine a plant that grows without permission in empty lots and delivers more magnesium than the vegetables advertised as healthy. That is not just a nutritional detail. That is a threat to an entire economy built on replacement. Because if a free plant solves a purchased problem, someone loses a customer. Lamb's quarters also solves another problem. Modern agriculture never likes to discuss. It reproduces too well. A single plant can produce tens of thousands of seeds. In rich conditions, far more. Those seeds fall, settle, disappear into soil, and then wait. Not for one season, not for two, for decades. A field can forget the plant, but the soil doesn't forget. The seed bank remains below the surface like a library of refused abundance. This is why farmers fighting for monoculture call it aggressive. What they mean is that it survives without buying inputs. It returns without invitation. It grows where order is supposed to dominate. Corn rows want uniformity. Soybean fields want obedience. Lamb's quarters want sunlight, open soil, and a chance. That difference is everything. Industrial agriculture rewards plants that stay inside the system, seeds that must be bought again, varieties that depend on fertilizer, crops that fit machines, shipping contracts, processing facilities, and quarterly earnings reports. Lamb's quarters fits none of that. It cannot be patented into cultural memory. It cannot be marketed as a lifestyle identity if anyone can walk outside and find it for free. So it receives the oldest punishment in the book. It gets renamed as a problem. Call something a weed long enough, and people stop asking whether it might also be dinner. Call it invasive, and no one wonders why their grandparents once cooked its cousins. Spray it with herbicide for 50 years, and a whole population forgets that leaves can be nourishment before they are inconvenience. But memory survives in places the market did not fully erase. It survives in kitchens, where bathua is still folded into flatbreads. It survives in villages where winter greens are gathered instead of purchased. It survives in immigrant communities that look at lamb's quarters and immediately recognize food where others see neglect. Knowledge did not vanish. It was pushed to the margins, then mislabeled as primitive, then ignored by people who came to trust packaging more than plants. And once you see that pattern, you start seeing it everywhere. Free medicinal herbs replaced by supplements, soil fertility replaced by synthetic inputs, seed saving replaced by annual dependence, traditional food knowledge replaced by branding. Modern systems call this progress. But progress that makes people weaker, more dependent, and less able to feed themselves has a strange definition. Lamb's quarters offers a different definition: food that returns on its own. nutrition that does not require a transaction, resilience that asks almost nothing from us except recognition. That may be the most radical quality of all. The plant is available before the purchase decision even begins, and it is easy to use. Young leaves can be eaten raw in small amounts or cooked exactly like spinach. Sauté them with garlic, stir them into soup, fold them into eggs, add them to lentils, rice stews, or breads. As the leaves mature, cooking improves texture and flavor. The seeds can be dried, toasted, ground into flour, or simmered into porridge. Nothing about this requires elite skill. What it requires is the willingness to stop obeying the label weed. If you decide to harvest it, choose clean ground away from heavy traffic pesticides and contaminated urban runoff. Wash the leaves well. Cook them as you would any other green. Like spinach, it contains oxalates, so moderation and proper preparation matter, especially for people sensitive to kidney stone issues. That is not a warning unique to lamb's quarters. It is simply the normal honesty every real food deserves. What matters more is this. We were taught that nutrition comes from stores, that health comes in bottles, that resilience comes from larger systems and smarter logistics. But larger systems break, logistics fail, shelves empty, prices rise, supply chains stretch thin. A plant rooted in local soil does not care about any of that. That is why this story is bigger than one forgotten green. It is about what happens when civilization confuses monetized food with actual food. It is about what disappears when wild abundance is treated as disorder. It is about how easily people can be separated from nourishment when they no longer know the names of the plants around them. 3,000 years ago, people trusted this plant enough to eat it as part of daily life. Across continents, unrelated cultures made the same decision again and again. That level of agreement is rare in human history. When distant civilizations keep arriving at the same answer, pay attention. Because lamb's quarters is still here. It still grows in garden edges, fence lines, vacant lots, disturbed fields, alley cracks, compost piles, and forgotten corners where useful things are rarely expected. It has outlived empires, outlasted fashion, survived chemistry, and waited beneath our feet while we paid money to solve problems it could help prevent. The plant was never the mystery. Our forgetting was. And once you understand that the next time you see that pale dust on the leaf, that triangular shape, that quiet confidence in poor soil, you may realize something unsettling. The food system did not fail to provide this plant. It taught you not to recognize it. So the next question is simple. When lamb's quarters appears in your path, this season will you pull it out as a weed, or will you finally meet it as food? When lamb's quarters appears in your path again, the choice may seem small, almost trivial. Just another plant in the wrong place. Just another stem to pull another patch, to clear another green blur at the edge of human order. But that moment is bigger than it looks. Because in that instant, you are not only deciding what to do with a weed, you are deciding whether to repeat the habit of forgetting or break it. Whether to trust the reflex you were given or the evidence that history keeps placing in front of you. A plant that fed people for centuries is still offering the same invitation now quietly, without advertisement, without branding, without asking permission to exist. And maybe that is what makes it so easy to miss. It does not arrive with packaging, does not announce its nutritional value. It does not demand attention. It simply grows season after season, waiting for someone to remember what it is. Not everything valuable comes through the systems we built. Not everything nourishing is sold back to us. Some things remain free, common, and overlooked, not because they lack worth, but because we were trained to overlook them. So when you see lamb's quarters this season, maybe do not ask first whether it belongs. Ask whether you still remember how to recognize what has always been trying to feed you.